The applause roared around me, almost painfully loud, but it wasn't really for me. I stood among the line of graduates on stage, my black gown falling neatly over my shoulders, cap fixed firmly in place, gold tassel grazing my cheek. The announcer's voice rang out. Samantha Reed, Masters in Clinical Psychology. I stepped forward, chin lifted, a practiced smile stretched across my face. Camera flashes burst from the crowd, but none of them belonged to my family. Their 5 seats in the middle row remained empty. Before we begin, drop a comment telling us where you're watching from, and after you've seen the full video, share what you would do if this were you. Be honest, we read them all. Let's begin. I'd already known they wouldn't come. Most likely, they were clinking champagne glasses at my younger sister Danielle's bridal shower in my parents' backyard. Still, those vacant chairs hit me like a blade to the chest. I accepted the diploma holder from the dean, shook his hand, and kept my smile frozen until I was off stage. My heels clicked sharply as I walked to where the other graduates gathered. Opening the holder, I expected the official paper with my degree. Instead, a plain white envelope slid out. No return address. The thick, expensive-feeling paper had my name, Sam, written in that precise, familiar handwriting. For a second, I wondered if it was from one of my professors, but my fingers hesitated. The hum of the ceremony faded, replaced by the relentless buzz of my phone in my pocket. I pulled it out. 72 missed calls from Mom, Dad, and Danielle. The phone kept vibrating in my hand. Sam. A voice broke through my daze. Rebecca, my best friend in the program, was watching me closely. You look like you've seen a ghost. I slid the envelope back into the holder, my pulse hammering. I don't know yet. Dad's name lit my phone again. I hit decline without thinking. Rebecca frowned. Why aren't you answering? Because whatever it is, I said, glancing at the crowd, the lights, the noise. It's going to ruin today. And I'm not giving them that. The words were bitter, but they felt right. I wouldn't let them steal this from me, not again. Still, the calls wouldn't stop. Their names flashed again and again, like some kind of warning. My skin prickled, my palms damp. I could feel the envelope pressing against my arm. By the time the ceremony ended and sunlight spilled across the campus, I'd made up my mind. I was going to open it. I slipped away from the laughing graduates, the posing parents, the congratulating professors. In a quiet corner where the brick walls threw deep shadows, I slid a finger under the flap and pulled out a single folded sheet. 4 short lines, written in that same steady hand. As I read them, my heart stopped. My knees went weak. For the first time all day, I understood why they'd called 72 times. My hands shook so hard I nearly dropped the page. The careful handwriting delivered words that landed like a punch. Samantha, what you don't know is about to change everything. Your grandmother's estate was never divided. You are the sole inheritor. Call my office immediately, before they do. Mir Turner, attorney at law. I read it once. Twice. A third time. My pulse roared in my ears. I hadn't even known my grandmother still had an estate. My parents had always said she'd died broke, buried in debt. They'd even laughed about it. Like the woman who raised my father had been more of a burden than family. But this was real. The weight of the paper, the precision of the script, the name at the bottom. I knew Michael Turner. He'd been my grandmother's attorney for decades, and one phrase in the letter blazed in my mind like a neon sign. Before they do. I didn't need anyone to tell me who they were. My phone vibrated again in my hand. Mom. I stared at the screen, at the tiny photo of her in the garden, smiling as if she hadn't shut me out of every major family moment for years. Rebecca stepped closer, her voice lowered. Sam, what's in it? I shook my head. I can't. My voice cracked, and I had to clear my throat. I think my family's been lying to me for years, and now they know I know. Her eyes went wide. What do you mean? I stopped because the phone buzzed again. Dad this time. Then Danielle. Then Mom again. One after another, rapid fire. They weren't letting up. My palms went slick. This wasn't about belated congratulations. This was fear. Panic. I shoved the letter into my bag, grabbed Rebecca's arm, and headed quickly toward the parking lot. The June sun was hot on my face, but my blood ran cold. They'll come here, I muttered. If they think I'm with people, they'll try to corner me. I need to leave before they show up. Rebecca's heels clicked on the pavement as she hurried to match my pace. Sam, you're scaring me. What's going on? I stopped at my car, hand on the door handle but not unlocking it. I met her gaze. They've been hiding something from me for years. And whatever it is, it's big enough to make them ditch Danielle's party and call me 72 times in 3 hours. Her brow furrowed. So, what are you going to do? My stomach twisted. The sensible move would be to call Michael Turner right now. But another part of me, the one still raw from every slight, every missed milestone, wanted them to sweat. Wanted them to feel what I'd felt. The thought both excited and unnerved me. Finally, I unlocked the door and slid into the driver's seat. My phone lit up again, this time a text from Mom. Don't sign anything. Don't talk to anyone. We're coming to you now. I stared at it, my breathing shallow. They knew I had the letter. They knew I could expose whatever they'd kept buried. Rebecca leaned on the passenger door, eyes searching mine. Sam, you can't face them alone if they're this frantic. I glanced out across the lot, half expecting to see Dad's SUV already barreling in. I'm not going home, I said flatly. If they think they can control me like before, they're about to learn how wrong they are. Because for the first time in my life, I have leverage, and I'm going to use it. I hadn't even reached the exit of the campus parking lot when I spotted them. A black SUV I knew too well rounded the corner too fast, tires screeching as it cut into the lane ahead of me. My stomach dropped. Dad was behind the wheel, Mom in the passenger seat, Danielle in the back. All of them scanning for me. Damn it, I muttered, ducking slightly in my seat. I turned the key, engine roaring, and tried to reverse out of my spot, but the SUV slowed, blocking the aisle so I couldn't pass. Rebecca, now in the passenger seat, glanced at me. Sam, that's them, isn't it? My grip tightened on the steering wheel. Yep. And they're not here to congratulate me. Dad's window slid down, his voice carrying across the lot. Samantha, pull over right now. We need to talk. It wasn't concern in his tone. It was the same hard, commanding voice he used when I was 12 and had crossed a line. I kept my gaze fixed ahead, acting as though I hadn't heard, until my mother's voice cut through, sharp and high. Don't you dare walk away from us. This is serious. My heartbeat thudded in my temples. I could feel Rebecca watching me. What's your move here, Sam? She asked quietly. I drew in a slow breath. My move is making sure they don't trap me in the car, like I'm some scared teenager. I swung my door open and stepped out, my heels striking the pavement with force. Every nerve hummed as I walked toward their SUV. Dad switched off the engine, climbed out, and marched toward me without so much as a greeting. Where's the envelope? Straight to business, no pleasantries. I tilted my head, letting a small, icy smile form. Interesting. I don't recall telling you there was an envelope. His jaw tightened. Don't play games, Samantha. You have no idea what's at stake. Oh, I think I do, I replied evenly. In fact, I might know more than you'd prefer I did. Danielle had stepped out too, her pristine white bridal shower dress creased as she folded her arms. Sam, stop being dramatic. Just give it to Dad and let him take care of it. You'll mess it up like always. That jab stung, but I didn't show it. You mean like I messed up by actually finishing my master's degree while you all were busy making sure I wasn't invited to any family gathering? Mom came forward, her tone dropping into that syrupy sweetness she used when she wanted me to back down. Honey, this isn't about the past. It's complicated. This is about the family's future. I let the words linger before replying. Whose future? Yours, Danielle's, or mine? The one Grandma apparently left everything to. The flicker in her eyes told me I'd struck the right chord. Dad stepped closer, voice lowered but somehow more menacing. Listen to me. That letter isn't a gift, it's a responsibility. You don't have the experience to handle it. Hand it over now, and we can make sure it's done right. Rebecca moved to my side, arms crossed. Or she could just call the lawyer herself, since it's addressed to her. Crazy thought, huh? Danielle scoffed. Stay out of it. You're not family. The tension cinched tighter, like a rope around us. Passing cars slowed to watch. Students pretended not to glance. And right then I decided I wasn't going to fold. Not here. Not ever again. You've ignored me, lied to me, and humiliated me for years, I said firmly. So if you think I'm going to hand over the first thing that might actually be mine, you've forgotten who you're dealing with. Dad's nostrils flared. Mom went pale. Danielle's mouth fell open. I stepped back toward my car, heels clicking like exclamation points. I'll be in touch, I said, slamming the door. Rebecca's voice was tight with adrenaline. Sam, they're not going to let this go. I know, I replied, pulling out and driving past the SUV. In the mirror, I saw them still standing there. 3 people who had never feared losing me, now realizing they might. We didn't talk much as I left the lot, but the silence was anything but easy. My grip on the wheel stayed firm, and each time I checked the rear view, the same black SUV loomed behind us. They're following us, Rebecca said at last. I didn't glance her way. I know. Sam, they're really following us. I know, I repeated, jaw tight. They think if they shadow me long enough, I'll stop, pull over, and hand it over. Rebecca shifted in her seat, eyes flicking to the rear window. They underestimate you, I said with a flat laugh. They've been doing that my whole life. I veered onto a side street, making it look like I was headed for the main road. But instead of merging onto the freeway, I swerved sharply into a busy grocery store lot and stopped beside a delivery van. Cutting the engine, I gestured for Rebecca to duck. The SUV crept past, my father craning his neck to spot us. They missed. When they turned onto the main road, I exhaled. That should buy us a few minutes. Rebecca straightened, brushing her hair back. Where to now? Straight to Michael Turner's office, I said without pause. Before they figure out I'm not going home and try something else. As I pulled out, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. If you go to him, you'll regret it. Danielle. I passed it to Rebecca so I wouldn't be tempted to respond. Read it. She did, eyes narrowing. Wow. Subtlety's not her thing. Never had to be, I replied. They've always assumed I'd cave. We drove in tense silence for 15 minutes until I stopped in front of a small brick building with a gold plaque. Turner and Associates, attorneys at law. My bag felt heavier with the envelope inside. As I stepped onto the sidewalk, my phone rang. Mom. I let it go to voicemail. I'd barely reached the door when a black sedan pulled up fast. Dad got out before it stopped. Sam, wait. His voice carried across the street. I ignored him, hand on the door, but he was there in seconds, blocking the frame. You don't want to do this, he said, voice low and sharp. I met his eyes. You don't want me to do this. Mom hurried from the car, looking more rattled than I'd ever seen her. Please, sweetheart, let's just talk. You don't understand how complicated this is. You've had years to talk, I said. And every time, you chose silence. Dad's jaw clenched. You think you're ready for the debts, the legal mess? You'll drown. Rebecca stepped up behind me. Or maybe she'll swim just fine without people tying bricks to her ankles. Mom's gaze cut to Rebecca, then back to me. You're being manipulated. I almost laughed. By the only person who actually shows up for me? No, that's your specialty. I pushed forward, forcing Dad to move his arm, and opened the door. His voice stopped me cold. If you do this, Sam, we're done. The words were hard and final. I turned back, heart pounding but voice steady. You were done with me the day you decided I wasn't worth showing up for. I stepped inside, letting the glass door close with a crisp click. The office air was cool, faintly scented with wood polish and paper. The receptionist in navy looked up. Can I help you? Yes, I said, steadying my breath. I have an appointment with Michael Turner. Samantha Reed. She checked her screen, nodded, and pointed down the hall. He's expecting you. The words sent a ripple through me. This meeting had been set in motion before I even knew. Rebecca squeezed my arm as we followed her. Michael Turner's door was open. Behind a mahogany desk stood a silver-haired man in a tailored suit, holding a thick folder. Samantha, he said warmly, motioning to the chair. Please sit. I sank into the seat, clutching my bag. I just got your letter. I know, he said, folding his hands over the folder. And I know your family tried to reach you first. I let out a humorless laugh. You could say that. He nodded as if confirming something. Then he opened the folder and slid a stack of papers toward me. Your grandmother's estate is substantial. Properties, investments, cash. You're named sole beneficiary in her will, signed 8 months before her death. My throat tightened. But they told me she died broke. His gaze softened. They didn't want you to know. The will was contested right after her death. Your father and aunt filed claims, but they were dismissed. Because you believed she had nothing. You never claimed the assets. They've been sitting untouched. I stared at the numbers, more zeros than I'd ever seen next to my name. And there's one more thing, Michael added, handing me a cream envelope. A personal letter from her. My hands trembled as I opened it. My dearest Sam, I know they've made you feel like the smallest voice in the room. But you were always the one I trusted, the only one who saw me for who I was. This is yours because I know you'll do good with it. Don't let them take it from you. My vision blurred. Rebecca leaned in. Sam, this changes everything. I looked at Michael. What now? You can claim it immediately, or we can arrange a formal reading with your family. That tends to make things clear. Set the meeting, I said without hesitation. 2 days later, we sat in the same room, Mom, Dad, and Danielle across from me. The air was thick. The hum of the AC was louder than our breathing. Michael read the will, every word a blow to their lies. When he finished, the silence was crushing. Dad's face reddened. This is absurd. She can't. She can. Michael cut in smoothly. And she did. The court has already rejected your claims. Mom's lips pressed thin. Danielle's eyes flicked back and forth, calculating. I placed my grandmother's letter on the desk, my voice calm but sharp. You told me she had nothing. You watched me struggle while hiding this. And now you want me to believe you care about me. Mom's voice broke. We were trying to protect you. No, I said coldly. You were protecting yourselves. No one spoke after that. When the meeting ended, Michael slid the final paperwork to me. My signature was firm. Done. Standing, I met my father's eyes one last time. You were right about one thing. This is the family's future. The difference is, I'm not giving it back. Rebecca and I stepped into the sunlight. My phone buzzed, unknown number. We need to talk, please. I locked the screen without answering. For the first time in years, the silence belonged to me.